Ellen and I were having lunch in Connecticut, and it was an incredible time. I got to spend some time with her, Ellen Bobro. I want to tell you I love you, and it was such a great time. And while we were having lunch, it was this little cafe. We're sitting outside. It's the air is kind of crisp. She's telling me cool stories about the East Coast and things like that. And my phone rings, and generally, when my phone rings, well, it was buzzing in my pocket. If I'm having lunch or if I'm with someone, I won't answer. I'll just let it go to voicemail. But I happened to look down at my phone, and it was my big brother Rob, and that's like the bat phone. That's like that red phone, or that emergency phone. Whenever he calls, I want to be able to answer. Sometimes he'll say that I don't answer him for days, but I tell you, it's one of the most important calls that I'll ever get is from my big brother and best friend and my hero Rob. And on the other end of the phone, he told me, he said, "It's time. I'm ready." And he had told me about wanting to, leave the law firm that he was working with and start his own company. But he told me on that day, it was the day. He was ready to jump. And he said, "I got a question to ask you." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Well, I had a couple cases sign up, in the last couple of weeks, and they were referred specifically to me. They requested me, and I signed them up. And I was just wondering what your take on it is. Should I, contact them, let them know that I'm starting my law firm and, kind of take them with me, because that'll be my first couple of clients and first couple of cases. And, they only came because of me to that law firm anyway." I wish I would have had the greatest advice for him, but I just had a question. I said, who were you working for when you established those cases? And it kind of went silent on the other end of the phone. And, I believe he knew where I was going with my question. See, because we were raised, my mom and pops always said to us that the way that you leave one thing is the way that you'll enter another thing. And I said, what you want to look at is you want to fast forward 5-10 years from now, not about what you need right now, but 5-10 years from now. And I want you to think about that there's an associate or a lawyer that's working with you that signed up a couple of cases and they decided to go on their own. And when they're decided to go on their own, would you want them taking those cases from your firm? And I don't believe that my brother needed my advice. We just talked back and forth, and I don't think he needed my counsel. But he made the decision, and when he made the decision to leave those people, he walked away, and he walked away with absolutely nothing. And this was probably one of the scariest times in his life, as he tells me, because there was a time where he went to, a Starbucks and he didn't even have enough on his debit card to be able to get the cup of coffee. But he did the right thing. He did the right thing even when it didn't feel right. And see, it was a crazy thing for me because, it was a principle that my parents, instilled in us. That the way that you leave something will be the way that you enter the next thing. So be conscious how you leave. See, Rob did the right thing, and although it was hard at the time, as we speak now, it's been, I don't know how many years, probably 8 or 10 years, somewhere around there, 5, 6, 7. I've lost track of time. But that immediate gratification that Rob sacrificed brought him future glory, because now he's one of the most sought-after personal injury firms in all of Las Vegas. And he does that without any billboard marketing, anything like that. It's all word of mouth. And the word of mouth is this guy has the highest integrity. And now he has a team that's built around him that's willing to take a bullet for the cause of what it is that they're doing, because he chose to do the right thing. I can't stress this enough, that when I look at my brother, he's such an inspiration. And with Cardenas Law Group, the reason why they've grown and the reason why people trust him is because even when people are not looking, they do the right thing. You see, in Proverbs 10, it answers the question that we all have right now. How do I know what the right thing is? Well, stick around and let's get this party started.
Achieving, cause we believing it's for certain. We put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right can't walk in my shoes.
I want to ask you this is how can AI and systems and processes make your job more efficient, and not only more efficient, but easier, and help you to be able to profit at a higher level? The reason why I ask that question is because sometimes doing the right thing is being able to adopt technology that otherwise we would push away. We were talking about it yesterday on the podcast, or a couple days ago. It was Darren Dunn, and he was talking about AI. He said AI is here, and automation is here. You could choose not to use it, but the fact of the matter is that it's here to be able to make your job a little easier and more efficient. I got a chance to be able to do that by a little trigger on the podcast, and it's just one of those things. How do we know what the right thing is? Proverbs 10 is going to take us right through it, walk us right through it. I want to say a big shout out to Cardenas Law Group, because one of the number one personal injury groups there in Las Vegas. And honestly, for me, like, I look at it, and when you're going through a tragedy, like a car accident and things like that, you don't have to worry about if the person has integrity. You want to be able to care for your family. You want to care for your health. You want to care for all those things, but you don't want to have to even consider, does this firm or this group or these lawyers that are working for me, do they have the utmost integrity? And with Cardenas Law Group, you don't even have to question that. It's already there. They were built on doing the right thing. My brother, I'm so proud of you. My hat's off to you. And walking away from the firm that you did, and you had business, you could have taken that business. You could have taken those cases with you, but you didn't. And the reason why you didn't is because it wasn't the right thing. Because you wanted to leave with high integrity, so you entered your business with high integrity. And the crazy thing, the thing that I didn't tell you about, is that law firm that he ended up leaving after he left, which is unheard of. They had a party for him to celebrate him starting his new firm. That's what I'm talking about. Like, when you do the right thing, the right things happen. In Proverbs 10, the question that we all have when I say do the right thing is like, how do we know what the right thing is? In Proverbs 10, it runs right through it. So in verse 1, let's jump into it. Who and what we listen to determines who and what we honor. Right? So seeking counsel is probably when I say seeking counsel, seeking wise counsel. And so where can you get wise counsel? I think one of the coolest wise counsels that you'll be able to get is April 12th, the Vibe Experience from 9 till 3:30 at the Edison House in Salt Lake City. You got Baron Baptiste, sold over 150 million on QVC, and also brought yoga to America, the NFL. The guy is an absolute beast, has I think 3 or 4 New York Times best-selling books. You got Coach Keith, one of the most amazing coaches, transformational coach. This guy is unreal, but he has all the receipts. So when I say that, he's actually done the work. Not only went to some of the greatest coaching schools, but also retired at 28 years old, an amazing developer. He has an incredible business mind. He's going to bring that to you. Also, you have Mr. James Dixon, #1 motivational speaker in the world, and you have Peter Anthony, and then you have this guy named Kelly that's going to be there too, so we can align your heart, your mind, and your skills. So who and what we listen to determines who and what we honor. That's in verse 1. If you want to know what the right thing is, start hanging out with people who have wisdom. And that wisdom is the right use of knowledge. And where can you get that? From the fear of God. And when people honor God, you'll find this. When people honor God in their life, they'll be abundant with wisdom. And then seek that wise counsel, then listen to it and apply it. Bang, bang, biggity, bang. In verse 2 and 15 and 23, one right seed planted is better than a field full of weeds. I used to try and disprove this because I just wanted, I was like, yeah, okay, one right seed, right? This is what God was saying, is like one right seed, one right little tiny thing, because I always wanted to see the big payoff. I still feel that way. Like, I still feel I'm going to hit the lotto. I don't play it, but I feel like I'm going to hit it. I still feel like there's going to Magnum PI, Tom Selleck is going to pull up in the Magnum PI Ferrari, the red one, the 308 GTO, right? 1982, 85. He's going to pull up next to me at the stoplight, and then he's going to say, hey, with his nice mustache and OP corduroy shorts, he's going to get out with his little flowery shirt and say, Kelly, I want to trade you. Go ahead and take my Ferrari. It's yours. I still feel that that's going to happen. I feel that I'm going to hit the lotto at some time, all the things. But I tell you, what God keeps telling me is plant the little tiny seed, because the success is in the seed. It's not in the apple. One right seed planted is better than a field full of weeds. I argue with this a lot, but I tell you, every single time that I argue with it, I end up being wrong. So you can learn from my mistakes. That's what Inchstones is all about. So learning from my mistakes. In verse 3, 10, 12, 17, doing right will never leave you high and dry. My buddy, I talk about him all the time. You guys need to, well, when you look him up, I mean, he's not the guy who's going to be shouting out there in the world and all over the place. His name is Gary Spellman. Gary Spellman does the right thing for the right reason, and the right thing turns out. He constantly would tell me it's a very simple process, Kelly. Like, there's no secrets to success. There's no magic beans. There's no magic bullet. All there is doing the right thing. And he encourages me in this, and doing the right thing will never leave you high and dry. It never will. It never has. It never will. It's that guarantee. It's like the Pepsi challenge back in the day. So they said, like, you take the Pepsi challenge, you're going to choose Pepsi, even if it's blindfolded, all these things. If you do the right thing, it'll never leave you high and dry. It just won't. In verse 4, 5, and 26, diligence is simply right work. Imagine if you knew the right type of work to be able to do. Well, that's diligence. Well, diligence will bring a profit. When you do right work, when you do the right thing for the right reason, the right thing will turn out. It won't be on your timing. It'll be God's purpose, his plan, and his timing, but it won't be on your timing. That's the most frustrating thing. But diligence is simply doing right work. And when you're diligent, it brings profit in your business, in your relationships, in all aspects of your life. In verse 6, doing right is the best outfit. My son has been all about being a chill guy. And I didn't know what this was. A little cartoon that there's a guy, and he's a little cartoon. It's almost like a Simpson character. And he's like, I'm a chill guy. That's what it is. And it's like red shoes, a gray sweatshirt, whatever it is. And my son kept saying to me, like, Dad, do I look like a chill guy? This is a chill fit, right? So I look like a chill guy. And he always wants to have the best outfit because he wants to feel good. My daughter, the same. She now got her baby blue convertible Bug with a black top and black interior. She got it for her birthday. And when she dresses, she actually matches her car. She named her car Bernard, by the way, too, which is so funny because we see this little baby blue Bug, and you would think it would be a little girl's name, and she named it Bernard. But when she gets in Bernard and she's whipping it, that's what she says. She wears a baby blue hoodie, baby blue shoes. She has the right outfit on. My wife, the same way. My wife, she wants to have the right outfit. And what God was saying is doing right is the best outfit you could ever wear. In verse 7, doing right elevates your name, and your name is the most valuable thing you'll ever own. Doing right elevates your name. What is synonymous with your name if it's doing the right thing? See, Rob, when he started off on his journey, that's a scary thing, to go cold turkey, to walk away from a salary. And he had been a salaried employee, and he had worked with many firms. And this firm that he was working with, he was doing very well. He was making a great living. He had 2 children. He had a wife. He had a mortgage. He had all these things. And then he steps away from it cold turkey with no cases, nothing at all. And you know what he did? He did the right thing in not taking those cases that he signed up a couple weeks before with him, because he knew that it wasn't the right thing to take someone else's stuff. But you know what happened? Over time, he became the #1 personal injury firm in Las Vegas. With no advertising, only word of mouth. That's what I'm talking about. Doing right elevates your name, and your name is the most valuable thing that you'll ever own. Cardenas Law Group. That name is synonymous with integrity. Verse number 8, listening is gangster. If you listen for long enough, you'll hear the right things start to pop up. Now, if you listen for a short amount of time, this is what I've fallen victim to. My brother is an attorney, so he not only listens to the plaintiff, but he listens to the defendant, and then he discerns. See, when you listen for long enough, you'll hear the right thing. When you listen for a short amount of time, you'll hear what you want to hear. Especially, I'm telling you, in a relationship, in business, and all these things. Listen. Listening is gangster. That'll be our next shirt. Maybe we'll have that at the Vibe Experience, April 12th in Salt Lake City at the Edison House. Listening is gangster. Doing right creates unparalleled confidence. In verse 9, that's what it talks about. And I look at my brother. My brother is, an unreal human, and he has unreal confidence. And I believe that a big reason why he has the confidence that he does in what he does and in his people and in his service is because he continues to do the right thing. He doesn't have to chase around and cover things up. He just continually does the right thing. That's what Cardenas Law Group does. In verse 11, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, 31, 32, this must be pretty important because it's in that many verses. Listen to the right things. Think about the right things, or think about what is right. Speak what is right, and you will act right. It pays off. Let me say it again. Listen to the right things, think about what is right, speak what is right, and you will act right. It always pays off. Let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 verses in this proverb, in Proverbs 10, talked about listen to the right things, think about what is right, speak what is right, and you will act right. See, we always try and flip it around. We're like, oh, what's the right thing to do? Well, it's hard to do that if you're not speaking what's right. You won't speak what's right if you're not thinking about it. And you won't think about it if you haven't listened to it. So what God is saying is listen to what's right. What's right? What did it tell you to do? And the only way that we can hear that is if we spend time with him. In verse 19, a bunch of wrong words don't make it right. This would hit me because how many times have you been wrong and you know you're wrong and then you just multiply your words. You just try and convince and go over. A bunch of wrong words doesn't make it right. Chew on that one for a little bit. In verse 22, doing right will bring returns that cannot be explained. This was the thing with my brother, Brad. He has Done Right Productions, and any of the production that you see, I have an unfair advantage because the video production that I have, if you've seen my speaker reel, when you see that, it's like a motion picture. It's like a major motion picture. You see the Vibroom commercial. You see any of the video collateral that I do, it's all Done Right Productions, right? And so when we think of this, like, doing right brings returns that can't be explained. I was talking to my brother, Brad, who owns Done Right Productions and does all the production. And he was like, well, someone told me to do a course online on how to be successful at doing video. And he's like, I can't explain it because God has blessed me so much. And it's come out of what most people would think was thin air. I'm focused on him. And then he keeps bringing me opportunities. And that's not what people want to hear. What people want to hear is if you do this and you do that and you do this and you do that, then all these things will happen. And that's not always the way that the world works. And what he was saying, he said, what do I do? I start a course and tell people to pray and that they'll be blessed because that's the way I was. Not to say that he just sat around. He was doing the right things, but he continued to have a relationship with God. And that's something that, it sometimes is hard to package and sell to people, right? In verse 24, doing right douses fear. See, when I look at my brother Brad, I look at my brother Rob, I look at my buddy Will, I look at Dave, I look at my buddy Craig, Kevin, my buddy Rob, who just got Sheriff of the Year in Vista. Congratulations to you. Doing right douses fear. Most of the time when we have fear, when we go into something, it's because we aren't doing all the right things around it. But when you're doing right, you don't fear as much. Not to say it won't be there, but it douses it. In verse 25 through 30, doing right creates a firm foundation. A firm foundation for anything, you could build on it. If you build your house, it says it in Proverbs, like you don't build your house on the sand, right? Don't build your house on the sand because it's not going to be stable. The foundation is the most important, and it's the lowest load-bearing area of a structure, to be able to create that foundation. Like, that's what we need to spend the most time on, energy on, but it's tough because nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. No one's going to come to your house and be like, wow, this is a great foundation. No, they say, wow, I love the color of the walls. I love the drapes. I love the way that you put together the room, the way that you designed it. I love the furniture. I love the granite countertops. But if you put all of that on a weak foundation, all of it will crumble when challenges come. So doing right creates a firm foundation. So do right. As we finish up today is verse 27 through 29 is the fear of God is an endless source of doing the right thing. The fear of God, meaning that you just respect him. And how do we respect him? Listen to his words, watch his actions, see that they're in line, and guess what happens? As most people would say, magic. But it's not magic. It's just you spending time with God because he wants to have a relationship with you. In verse 28, doing right brings joy. Joy is the art of falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. Doing right brings joy. Some people will say, like, doing right brings happiness. Well, happiness is circumstantial. I get happy, I get sad. But joy is just falling in love with your current circumstance and allowing magic to happen. And to bring joy into your life, just do the right thing. Because when you do the right thing, you know that the right thing is ultimately going to happen, but most likely it won't be on your time. But that will take a little bit of faith, and it'll bring joy into your life, because that joy is saying, this circumstance is awful. Like, things seem to be crumbling around me, but I'm going to fall in love with this current circumstance and then watch magic start to happen. See, God has a plan for every single one of you right now. He has a plan for you, and that starts with you doing the right thing. And the right thing is always what he tells you to do at the time he tells you to do it. Every one of us right now is struggling with something, wrestling with something that God has told us to do, and we know that we should do it, but we ain't doing it right now. And I want to encourage you, do the right thing. You see, my brother Rob did the right thing, and things worked out. This still poses the question, how can I know what the right thing is? This is where God is inviting you to spend time with him, and he will give you the right answer at the right time, so you too, like Rob, can do the right thing. I love you, Rob. I'm proud of you and inspired by you every single day. And for those of you who are a team member on Cardenas Law Group, I want you to realize that you were built on a foundation of doing the right thing. And that foundation will last a lifetime. Proud of you, brother. You're the man. Come check out the Vibe Room, or the Vibe Experience and the Vibe Room. Grab the book. Check out our Substack. If you become a founder on our Substack, actually you get a ticket to the Vibe Experience complimentary. So just become a founder on the Substack. It's a newsletter that I write by hand because it's imperfect, and I wanted you to see that you don't have to be perfect to start. So hopefully you had a phenomenal day. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's been another episode of Inchstones. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we can